Hi everybody and welcome back. We're now on the second part of the 998A series. What I'm going to do here, off camera because I'm not going to bore you to tears with it, is get all the grease and gunk and everything cleaned up. Not cleaned up immaculate at this stage, just cleaned up so that I can work with it, and I'm not going to be dropping bits and pieces and all bits of the engine and everywhere and just working and dirty grease out of it. It's not nice, so I'm going to clean it all off with a few products I've got here. One I've tried before, engine and machine cleaner, Auto Gleam, quite good. I've also got another one to try, some gunk engine degreaser, and I've got a spray gun for that, and simple blue rolling gloves. I'm just going to try and get the most of it off here. I'm in no rush to do it. I'm going to take my time, get it all cleaned off. I don't want to go like I've seen some people do with power washer and just blast it all off because it'll make a mess everywhere. I don't want to make a mess of the drive or the path. By doing it this way I can contain most of it, just bin disposable gloves and towels and things. So that's what I'm going to do just now. I'm going to go and get it all sort of cleaned up. As you can probably tell by the mess of me, I've been cleaning the engine for hours. It's such a messy job. All the crap that was on it just goes everywhere. I've used some wire wheels, I've used some cloth, engine degreaser, belt sander, and like I say, it just flings the mud everywhere. I'm glad I did it in here though because I didn't want to make a mess outside. And I've cleaned everything I can, the walls have still got it on and everything. So what I have to say, this engine stand, being able to rotate it, clean underneath, the sides, the top, fantastic. You just couldn't get that kind of access with it lying flat on its sump. So well worth the investment. So yeah, I'll shut up and I'll show you some of these shots, and then what I plan on doing is getting bits and pieces off this engine, starting with some brackets, auxiliaries, things like that, and then I can move on to the bigger things like the head, the sump, the clutch, etc. So it does make sense while I've got upside down to take some of the stuff that's more accessible to the engine off first. So I'm going to start with the engine mounts. These are still on from when I took them off. And get these off. I'm hoping these bolts come off fairly easily. Soon find out. But yeah, the engine mounts, all it is, 3 bolts on each side, 1, 2, 3 on this side, attached to the lock for the clutch. And this side, it's the same, it's just attached to the bracket for the radiator. I have been putting WD-40 on as I've been cleaning, it's just dry now, so I'm going to give it a try slowly because I don't want to snap these. But I'm anticipating that they won't give me any trouble. Right, 3 bolts, 1/2 inch socket, let's see how loose they come. Yeah, fairly straightforward, not tight at all. And there we go. Obviously going to give that a clean up. These will be getting replaced obviously, but I always hang on to them so that I can compare them with the new ones when they come. I never bin things until I know 100% I don't need them anymore. Can do the exact same on the other side. You can see where that is, obviously upside down, but just the same, the 3 bolts. You don't need to see me taking that off, it's the exact same, and I'm sure it'll come off with the same ease. So the mounts are off. I'm not sided, they're exactly the same. This with the red dot on, for my own personal reference, was the one that came off the walk side at the clutch, and this was the side at the radiator bracket. The difference with the two is simply the screws, or the bolts should I say. You can see the clear difference there, difference in length. So they're all the same on each side, but the one that goes onto the radiator bracket are smaller. So what I'm going to do, it's easy just to start ripping things off and putting them somewhere and leaving them as you go, but no, I'm going to keep these all together, bag them up, mark them up, and put them in a shoebox and into storage, so that way when I come back to reassembling I know exactly what goes where, and if I need any extra parts I've got them. So yeah, I've learnt before, you need to take your time with this, get them safely boxed, and they'll be there when you come months, weeks, years down the line. Right, next to come off while the engine's upside down is the radiator bracket, and that's held on to the sump by these 2 bolts. The other end are captive nuts, so they just screw in. And because of the oil and stuff here, they should be relatively easy to come out, so get these 2 out. So on this side you can see there's captive nuts. Basically goes through the sump, through that side and that side, and it attaches to the bracket. So that's everything done with the engine upside down. I'm just going to spin it back round so I can work with it the right way up now. Locking pin comes out. Use this handle for leverage to spin it round. Where am I going here? I need to go this way because I've not got the distributor out yet, and if I try the other way it tends to catch on this bit, as I found manoeuvring it round. But you can see, apart from all the rubbish that falls out the engine, it's easy to turn. Right, I'm just working my way around the engine, so the next on my list is the fuel pump. This is a carbureted engine, so it's got a mechanical fuel pump which sits on the back of the engine when it's in the car. And it's fairly straightforward. There is 2 bolts, one here, and there'll be a gasket between that and the engine. The bolts are 7/16, and I'm just going to take them off just now. So just be careful when you pull it out, it comes sort of down and towards you, and gives a good indication of why I was wanting to clean all this before I took this out, because I don't want any of this stuff going in there. So I still need to clear a bit around here, and I'm going to do that carefully so I don't get anything falling into the engine. albeit it is all going to be cleaned, but it makes it a lot easier down the line. So you can see the state of this fuel filter, but as I said previously, 103,000 miles, so this is going to have been on the car for the last 30 years. Right, the distributor, some might have taken this out before they lifted the engine. This I just left it in. You see when I put this adapter plate on, I removed the bracket, which was just one bolt in, holding it in place. The distributor then just lifts out, depending on where the position of the engine is. So like, top dead centre, and then it just lifts out. If it's not top dead centre, it'll spin, but the distributor will be locked in. So this is obviously top dead centre from when I've had it before, because I've not turned the engine in a while, and it should just lift out like that. I'm not worried about timing etc at this stage, because this is getting replaced with an electronic distributor down the line, and obviously the whole engine's getting cleaned and painted anyway, so timing marks etc would mean nothing. The thermostat, so when this was removed you could see the Jubilee clips were just rotten, that's why these were cut. Studs, same as any other Mini, 3 studs into the cylinder head there, 1, 2, 3, 2 came out, 1 refused at the time. So yeah, nightmare. What I'm going to do is clean all this up, plenty penetrating fluid, leave it for ages, keep coming back, and then I get to test out my stud extractor, see if that's going to work, because I really don't want to have to look at this stage anyway, getting this re-drilled and tapped, and even possibly a replacement head. I mean, it might come to a replacement head, but I'd like to have the option at this stage. So yeah, I'm just going to clean this up, leave this to soak for a while, and I'll come back to this one at a later date. And you can see obviously the thermostat's solid in there. I have to say, when I did take this engine out, one of the worst bits of it was the water system. The rusty goo and gunk that came out of it was one of the worst I've seen. So yeah, I'm a bit scared of what it's going to be like inside the waterways in here, but that's why I'm taking it to bits to find out. There we go, cleaned up and left to soak. I'm not taking this off just now, I'm saving that nice surprise for later when I strip the rest of the engine. Right, this area here, the engine fan, purely water pump and stuff behind it. Couple of hoses here off the breather from the engine, and then that's pretty much all the outside auxiliaries off the engine. So 4 bolts for the fan. Quick question, Mark Piper, this has cropped up a few times, we'll get this off and have a better look, but is this on the right way? You see this coming up in forums all the time. Is the fan on the right way? You should know by the direction of these. The quality fans will tell you engine side on, the aftermarket ones won't, but it's one of those sticking points that always seems to come up in forums and always seems to get a few responses. But 4 7/16 bolts to get it off, and let's have a look and see if this one's a genuine one when it comes off, if it does tell us engine side on it or not. Well, it might tell us engine side once I clean it up. So this has been cleaned up, this fan's getting replaced anyway. I purely cleaned it up just to find this. There we go, if it'll focus in on that. It says engine side. So this is obviously one of the original fans for it, not one of the cheap imitations. Right, for whatever reason, some of the procedure that I recorded didn't record, so I'm just going to add a little bit in here just to explain what comes off after the engine fan. So the engine fan, you've seen in the last clip, comes off with the engine side only. On this engine, which is the 998, remember, and just the standard water pump pulley, there is a spacer that sits between the engine fan and the pulley. And then the pulley lifts off, which then leaves the water pump, which is obviously still attached to the engine, which is the next part of the procedure you'll see. Right, the 4 bolts that I pointed out I've cleaned up quickly. They come off, this lifts off, but it's still got some of the hoses connected to it that go to the radiator, the heater, the head, various bits. I'll cover all that when I put it back on because the hose is cut to bits at the moment. It doesn't really make much sense looking at it. So I could spend a lot of time cleaning all this, getting this off, getting this off, getting this off. But why would I do that? Because they're all getting replaced, new hoses, new Jubilee clips, everything. So quickest way. So just a point when taking this off, 2 bolts at the front, you've seen them coming off, both the same. Top one here, a lot longer compared to the other 2. The same with the bottom one there. So 2 here longer, 2 here shorter. It's not actually sticking here too much, it's basically this that's holding it on, so a case of wiggling it and just pulling this hose down. Bit of good old fashioned brute strength. And possibly a screwdriver for persuasion. See that rubber there's not even moving, it's just purely perished. There we go. Nice. I'll get this state in there. Obviously once I get everything off I'll get a better look, but yeah, the waterways are completely clogged on this. And that's what happens when you don't replace your coolant when you should. Initially I thought there was no gasket on this, but there is actually a gasket on here. But it's so perished it's actually flaking away rather than peeling off. So just bear in mind there is also a gasket between here and the block. Right, I've given this area a clean up as much as I wanted to just now. That's most of what I want to get off today done, so another step closer. The only thing I want to do now is check to see the engine turns. The last time I knew the engine turned was when I took it out. which was years and years ago now. So it's a bit nerve-wracking to know, but I'm going to do it on camera here for you guys to see if it's going to turn. Fingers crossed.